Good afternoon, people. Watchman blows the horn. I just wanted to do a quick analysis of the 2019 Economist cover. I pretty much think that they're talking about the new era. They're about to usher in the new era, and they're getting us all ready for the new era. So the first thing to start off with is you'll notice the fact that the magazine is actually backwards. All the writing on the cover is all backwards. So what you do is you basically flip it around, and when you flip it around, then you can actually see what's written on the cover, which is really funny because the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 from verse 15 to 16 says, "Woe to those who go to great depths to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their work in darkness and think, who sees us? Who will know? You turn things upside down, as if the potter were thought to be like the clay. Shall what is formed say to he who formed it, he did not make me? Can the pot say of the potter, he knows nothing?" God sees their plans. But the main point is, everything happening is being orchestrated. One shouldn't just think that it's all happening by chance. So let me just start with the analysis. So basically, I believe that Donald Trump is the rider on the white horse, the Revelation 6. And I believe that he's basically the false Messiah figure, make America great again, bring peace to Israel, and all of that. I don't think he's going to bring peace to Israel, and I don't think he's going to make America great again. I think Donald Trump is a construct. He's lying to everyone. He's not going to make America great again. On the contrary, he will usher in the destruction of America. So, yeah, you can see from that, it looks like his face has been imposed on him. He's not real. He's like a character of a book. And I think he's the one that this is alluding to. He's a liar. He's there to deceive people. He's there to make people have false hope, and when there is no hope. Interestingly enough, there's a book by a guy called Ingersoll Lockwood. It was written, I think, in the 1900s, basically, that's the more reason that makes me think that Trump is some kind of construct, because in this book it talks about, it basically describes Trump's winning the presidency. It describes everything. It's almost identical. I recommend you read it. If you can't read it, go online, and there's an audio book. I believe he's an agent of Russia and China. Incidentally, the book is called The Last President. I suggest you just go and you have a look at it. It makes a very interesting read. At the end of the book, extracts from Ingersoll Lockwood's book, The Last President, seems to suggest that Donald Trump ushers in the era of the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, Cain, Nimrod, Horus, all the same. So this is an extract from the book, and this is the last bit. And it says here, "The bells were ringing a glad welcome to the new century, but a solemn tolling would have been a fitter thing. For the Republic of Washington was no more. It had died so peacefully that the world could not believe the tidings of its passing away." So this sounds to me like, the description of the destruction of Mystery Babylon, where people are all, flabbergasted and looking and thinking, "Oh, alas, that great city has been destroyed in 1 hour." I think that's what this is alluding to. As the dawn broke cold and grey, and its first dim light fell upon the shattered dome. So basically, it talks about the destruction of the of the dome, the Capitol building in Washington. Glorious even in its ruins. A single human eye. What's that about? A single human eye. Does that remind you of a single human eye? Filled with a gleam of devilish joy. Joy at the destruction of Mystery Babylon. Looked up at it long and steadily. So it's looking up at the destruction of the Capitol building. And then its owner was caught up and lost in the surging mass of humanity that held the Capitol girt round and round. So this is describing, it's almost like someone who's been orchestrating something has finally succeeded, and he's looking at the works of his hands and he's glad. And hey presto, Mystery Babylon has been destroyed. So yeah, I think Donald Trump is the one who will usher in this period of the destruction of Babylon, because I think America is New Babylon. It's the same spirit that built Babylon is the same spirit that built Egypt. America is just a modern day Babylon, modern day Egypt. It's if you look at the Capitol, it's filled with all sorts of pagan Babylonian gods and symbols and signs, and even on their dollar bill, it's got a pyramid. It's got the Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye. It's got this insignia, which is pretty much Egyptian. You know, says, you know, the extract from the book was alluding to: free Babylon, run for your lives, do not be destroyed because of her sins. It is time for the Lord's vengeance. He will pay her what she deserves. Babylon was a gold cup in the Lord's hands. She made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank her wine. Therefore they have now gone mad. Babylon will suddenly fall and be broken. Wail over her. You know, the allusion to, as I said, but what was written earlier on, you know, the destruction of Neo-Babylon, Neo-Egypt. The symbols are the same. So America is Mystery Babylon, spiritual Babylon. Babylon reborn, Egypt reborn. And I think judgment is coming upon her. And that's partly, I think, what is being alluded to. You can see the same symbols: the Eye of Horus, pyramid, the eagle, the bird, you know, with the, it's pretty much all the same. Babylon reborn, Egypt reborn. So I think they're saying that judgment is coming upon Babylon. You know, the same spirit that was in Babylon, the same spirit that was in Sodom and Gomorrah, the same spirit that was in Egypt, is the same spirit that's in Mystery Babylon, USA. So the warning that came to Egypt has come to Neo-Egypt / Mystery Babylon, USA. On the 25th of September 2014, it came to the attention of the world in America. Two calves were born in America, and they both had the number 7 written on their heads. One had a huge 7 and one had a little 7. And I think it's the warning that came to Egypt in the old days during the time of Joseph, came to America in 2014, came to Neo-Egypt, Neo-Babylon. And I think it was because the dream to Pharaoh was that there would be 7 years of, you know, prosperity, and then 7 years of famine and drought. And I think basically this was saying that we were entering the final period. So from 2014, if you add 7 years, that'll bring you to 2021. And I think this is alluding to the fact that the tribulation begins in the year 2021. And yeah, and it lasts for 7 years. So everything's going to come to a head in the year 2028. Yeah, of course, they're preparing the world for the emergence of Cain, the son of perdition, the one whose spirit keeps coming back, and is going to come back the 8th time as the beast, the seed of the serpent, the one who will be possessed by Satan himself. Yeah, so judgment is coming on Babylon. So this is Isaiah 47, and it's basically just talking about, in my view, USA, Babylon, America, Egypt, Neo-Egypt. Go down and sit in the dust, virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground without a throne, daughter of the Babylonians. No more will you be called tender or delicate. Take milestones and grind flour. Take off your veil, lift up your skirt, bare your legs, and wade through the streams. Your nakedness will be exposed, and your shame uncovered. I will take vengeance, I will spare no one. Our Redeemer, the Lord Almighty, is his name, is the Holy One of Israel. Sit in silence, go into darkness, daughter of the Babylonians. No more will you be called Queen of Kingdoms. I was angry with my people and desecrated my inheritance. I gave them into your hands, and you showed them no mercy. Even on the aged you laid a very heavy yoke. You said, I will continue forever, the eternal queen. But you did not consider these things or reflect on what might happen. Now then, listen, you wanton creature, lounging in your security and saying to yourself, I am, and there is none besides me. I will never be a widow or suffer the loss of children. Both of these will overtake you in a moment. On a single day, loss of children and widowhood. They will come upon you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries and all your potent spells. You have trusted in your wickedness and have said, no one sees me. See, no one sees me, like earlier on. Yeah? Disaster will come upon you, and you will not know how to conjure it away. A calamity shall fall upon you that you cannot ward off with a ransom. A catastrophe you cannot foresee will suddenly come upon you. Keep on then with your magic spells and with your many sorceries which you have labored at since childhood. Perhaps you will succeed. Perhaps you will cause terror. All the counsel you have received has only worn you out. Let your astrologers come forward, those stargazers who make predictions month by month. Let them save you from what is coming upon you. Surely they are like stubble. The fire will burn them up. They cannot even save themselves from the power of the flame. Here are the fire will burn them up. They cannot even save themselves from the power of the flame. Here are no coals to warm anyone. Here is no fire to sit by. That is all they can do for you. These you have labored with and trafficked with since childhood. Each of them goes on in his error. There is not one that can save you. Isaiah 47, 12 to 15. So, the story didn't start now. The story started much earlier on. They've been trying to bring about a story. So 2017 was significant, right? 2016/17 marked the beginning of the birth pangs. The birth pangs was described by Jesus in Matthew 24. The seals, which pretty much are the same things. The seals spoken of in Revelation 6. the horsemen. The horsemen's, the birth pangs started with the first rider on the white horse, and it ends with the sixth seal, which brings the rapture. Revelation 12 tells us the timing of the beginning of the birth pangs and at the time of the rapture. So Revelation 12 starts with the Revelation 12 sign, which pretty much happens at 2017, which also coincided with the inauguration of Donald Trump, who is the rider on the white horse. So 2017. Now in 1988 they had already told us that they were expecting an economic collapse. There's the phoenix with all the currencies of the world under its feet, all in flames, and it says get ready for a one world currency. So it's all been engineered, it's all been created it's all been orchestrated to bring us to where they want to get us to. I think 2018 this cover came out, and they were talking about the next recession, the next economic problem that we can already see the signs. And then there's a blackout, and what this says to me is reset. That's the reset button. This marks a major turning point, a major escalation in what they're trying to do. And then of course you have the 2019 cover. So here it goes on. So the Economist, the world of 2019, and then you can see here natural disasters are going to increase, as was told us in the Bible, Matthew 24, Revelation. They basically know that this is where we are. This is the timeline. Of course, again, the Economist, the world of 2019, it's alluding to heat, it's alluding to burning, things getting worse with the climate, things getting worse on the earth, the stress of nations. They're alluding to the fact that it's going to get worse. And then there's this 2019, and incidentally there's this, alluding to what was spoken of in Matthew 24, and also the 6th seal, where it says at the after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the heavens, which happens at the same time as the rapture. So they know what time it is. Birth pangs began with the Revelation 12 sign, 17th of November 2016 to 23rd of September 2017, which also marked the beginning of the final Jubilee before the advent of Messiah. The final Jubilee started, of course, in 2017, and it ended in 2018. After which comes judgment. Of course, 9 is the number of judgment. And basically this is what they're also telling us, that 2019 is going to usher in judgment. Now the cover of 2017, right, is a timeline. It's a timeline. It's telling us what's going to happen one after the other. So it was telling us that persecution, a divide between the godless and the church was going to take place. A real division. Christian persecution was going to increase. Of course, this is before the Trump card. Now notice that all the other cards are straight. The Trump card is tilted. So that's telling you that's the beginning of something. And what they're telling you is that's the beginning of the birth pangs. The inauguration of Donald Trump, the rider on the white horse, the false Messiah figure, which starts the period of birth pangs. So this Christian persecution, they're trying to tell you, started in a communist country, right, before 2017. It started to intensify, and then 2016/2017, the rider on the white horse was inaugurated. The card, the world, speaks of upheaval, a coming upheaval. Something's about to change. Something intense is on the way. Basically, this is talking about what just happened, what's happening now. Actually, the yellow coats, the riots in France, and incidentally, this happened at the same time as the earthquake that took place in Alaska, which cracked the earth, cracked the roads. So now, basically, this is giving us a timeline of events. Okay, so from the time of the persecution, of course, in China, the time that persecution started to increase, and then you had the inauguration of the rider on the white horse, and this is telling you that there's great upheaval coming, and of course the upheaval has started, the distress of nations, and basically you see the hermit figure with the lamp, and this basically is alluding to the fact that all of this is being orchestrated. So we move on to the next one, and they're telling us that the next thing that's going to happen here is the rider on the red horse, war. That's a nuclear explosion. That's death, of course, and Hades. Pestilence. That's pollution. That's the famine. No crops can grow. Fish dying, and basically they're trying to tell us that we're on the verge of nuclear war. That's the next thing on the agenda. So you go back, of course, this is what's happening now. So this is what happens next, and of course they're going to keep on trying to deceive people and make people not see reality. That's what the magician is talking about, utilizing whatever resources to achieve their goal, and their goal is to make people numb, is to change people, is to make people get people ready for the mark of the beast. The Wheel of Fortune is alluding to the law of karma. What goes around comes around, and this indicates to me that they're trying to say someone's about to get their just desserts. Maybe Mystery Babylon, who knows. And then here, the star, and basically what they're alluding to here is the rapture, because this is a combination. Of course, this card is also tilted. This indicates the end, which is the sixth seal, which is the rapture. Okay, and just as the Trump card indicated the beginning, so Trump marked the beginning of the birth pangs, and the rapture marks the end of the birth pangs and the beginning of the tribulation period. So if you look at the Trump card, right, it's a mixture of the Judgment card and the Emperor. So if you look at the Judgment card, if you look at the Judgment card, it speaks of destruction, it speaks of war. That's like an explosion, which like is if you combine that with the death card, that's what it's alluding to. It's alluding to the fact that under Trump is when the wars will start. Trump, the rider on the white horse, and then of course the next horse is the red horse, war, which is what is about to commence. And of course that card is the Emperor. It's talking about, of course, the Emperor, the rider on the white horse, the king, the king, the one with the Stephanos, the victory, the victor's crown, the one who went through an election and won, and became king, the rider on the white horse, the one who will usher in the period of destruction. And of course the final card is the star, and mixed with, of course, because it's tilted, it's alluding to the Judgment card. Now the Judgment card is this, and what's that alluding to? That's alluding to the rapture. That's the angel with the horn, the trumpet. I tell you, we shall not all sleep, but we shall be caught up. The dead in Christ will rise first, and those of us who are alive shall be caught up, and we shall forever be with the Lord. That's what this is alluding to. So they know what is coming. They know the timeline that we're in. So the first card, the tower. I found this article interesting. Forbes, and it was talking about a growing religious persecution in China, a symptom of Xi's consolidation of power. And listen to what it says here. It says a groundbreaking report from Freedom House noted that Christians and Uyghurs in particular experienced increased persecution between November 2012 and November 2016. Now that just confirms what I was talking about earlier on. So the November 2012, November 2016, so it's a timeline. 2012 to 2016, Christian persecution increases. 2016, 2017, the inauguration of the Rider on the White Horse, great upheaval on the way. Then the next thing on the agenda is war. And then, of course, this is a mixture of all the four horsemen, the three horsemen after the white horse. Trump, that's the Rider on the White Horse. So now we're talking death, we're talking famine, we're talking the pale horse, which is pestilence, which is famine, which is death, everything mixed together. That's what this is alluding to. And of course, the last, as I said, the rapture. So you have that was the first, and then the next you move to judgment, which was the emperor mixed in with judgment, the Rider on the White Horse, inauguration of the Rider on the White Horse, and then you have the world tarot card, which is talking about a great upheaval, and then of course you have this, which is alluding to the yellow vest protests in France, as this article confirms, and also the powerful earthquake that buckled Alaska Road. I mean, you can just look at that picture. Doesn't that just look exactly the same? And look at that, the yellow shirts, and these two things happen about the same time. They're telling you, it's a timeline. They're telling you what is going to happen, during this time period. Of course, this card is pretty much the same as the one and on the 2019 cover under Putin. Basically, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Revelation 12, 1 to 12, 1 to 11, which basically describes everything from the first, the rider on the white horse, the rider on the red horse, the rider on the black horse, to the rider on the pale horse, which is all summed up in this. This card is exactly the same as all these. This is Donald Trump, the rider on the white horse. He ushers in all others. So that's what they're telling us. They're telling us what time it is. They're telling us what's about to happen. Okay, so the judgment card, of course, is pretty much the same as the death card. They're telling us this is what's next on the agenda. And then, of course, as I said, you have the magician. They're going to keep on trying to dumb people down, to get people and change people, work on man, get you to change your reality, change your perspective, convince you about the way the new world should be, the way you should see things, impair your judgment. You're now in virtual reality. Everything is virtual now. Everything is changed. Of course, as I said, Wheel of Fortune, what goes around comes around. Somebody's about to get their just desserts, and then it's all going to end with the rapture. So, yeah, and then this is another cover. Now you can see that this is alluding to, this is alluding to what was written of in Matthew 24, when it says, immediately after the distress of those days, distress meaning because the last thing that's going to happen here is intense Christian persecution, because it says here, when he opened the sixth seal, sorry, not the sixth seal, the fifth. Okay. When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. It called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer until the number of their fellow servants and brothers who were to be killed as they had been was completed. Revelation 6:9-11. So yeah, the last thing, this is intense Christian persecution. This is what was also alluded to in Matthew 24, where it talks about, after describing the birth pangs, the final birth pang sign was intense Christian persecution, right before the sixth seal, right before the sign of the rapture. So it says, immediately after the distress of those days, which is intense Christian persecution, as I just showed you, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. So that's the sign. That's the last sign before the rapture. That's the last thing that must happen before the rapture, because it says, at that time the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the sky with power and great glory, and he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Matthew 24:29-31. That's the card. Remember, the star card. That's what it's alluding to. It's alluding to the rapture. So that's which this is what happens at the same time. The unnatural solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, an eclipse that's going to happen unexpectedly. That's going to be caused by a heavenly body that we are not familiar with, that is actually on its way right now. So they know what time it is. They know exactly what's going on. So the significance of Ukraine and Syria, it's all about Putin's pipelines. Putin's pipelines. The cover, remember? On the cover, it says here, Putin's pipelines. And then you have Putin, and then you have the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This is why war is coming. It's because of the pipelines. So who's Putin? Well, Putin is Gog. So what spoil or loot could the Bible be referring to? That's Gog. When in Ezekiel it speaks of, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog. That's Putin, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against you, O Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws and bring you out with your whole army. Your horses, your horsemen, fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer and all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops. The many nations with you. Ezekiel 38, 1-6. So this is talking about Gog. God is saying that he will draw Gog out. It's very interesting. This phrase, precept upon precept, there's somewhere else in the Bible where this phrase has been used. Maybe that can give us a clue as to who Gog is and why Gog is going to come against Israel. So if we go to Job 41 verse 1 and 2, it says, can you pull in the Leviathan with a fish hook, or tie down his tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through his nose, or pierce his jaws with a hook? Pierce his jaws with a hook. Does that sound familiar? I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws and bring you out with your whole army. Leviathan, can you pierce his jaw with a hook? So this phrase here, this phrase is linking Gog to Leviathan. Okay? In that day the Lord will punish with his sword, his fierce, great and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. Isaiah 27 verse 1. So Leviathan is being connected to the hooks in the jaws, which connects us to Gog. So the two trouble spots, Ukraine and Syria. Why? What's going on? Russia does not want competition supplying gas to its major market, Europe. Russia at the moment supplies most of Europe with gas. Most of these gas pipelines go through Ukraine. So Ukraine is strategic to Russia. And of course Crimea. It's very strategic to Russia. Now, the Americans wanted to create a pipeline from Qatar going through Syria to Europe, thereby enabling Europe to cut Russia off. That's why Russia is in Syria. They don't want that pipeline to become a reality, and that's why the West is bent on Bashar al-Assad not being in Syria. So it's a fight to the finish. It's about the pipelines. It's about Putin's pipelines. Putin needs to protect his pipelines in Ukraine. He needs to protect his market in Europe. He needs to stop any competition and might want to take over his markets from alternatives. Putin's pipelines. The reason that will usher in the wars, the riders, the white horse, the black horse, the pale horse. I think that's what they're trying to tell us. That's why the military buildup is happening. And you see Russia building up its forces, and then you see NATO building up their forces in Ukraine. That is what will start the wars. And in Syria, you see Russia, and you see the United States, or shall I say NATO. It's a face-off, and it's all because of Putin's pipelines. So that's what makes this development even more interesting. Now, in the year 2010, Israel discovered 3 massive gas reserves offshore, and guess what they're called? One was called Dalit, the other Tamar, and the biggest, Leviathan. Could this be Leviathan? The hook, the jaws, Leviathan, that brings out Gog? Is this why Gog wants to invade Israel? Because Israel has just signed a deal with Cyprus, Greece, and Italy to create a pipeline which will allow them to serve Europe. That's not going to make Russia very happy, is it? Israel, Cyprus, Greece, and Italy agree on $7 billion East Med gas pipeline to Europe. This is not going to make Gog very happy at all. Gog will not be pleased. This will change the current dynamics of power. Located in the Mediterranean Sea area off the coast of Israel, Leviathan natural gas field was discovered in December 2010. The discovery is situated in 1,645 miles of water in the Leviathan Basin, located approximately 130 kilometers west of Haifa, Israel, according to some commentators. The gas find has the potential to change Israel's foreign relations with neighboring countries, Turkey and Egypt, together with nearby Tamar gas field. The Leviathan field is seen as an opportunity for Israel to become a major energy player in the Middle East. As of 2017, even by conservative estimates, Leviathan holds enough gas to meet Israel's domestic needs for 40 years. The field is scheduled to come online by the end of 2019. Gog will not be pleased. Can you pull in Leviathan with a fish hook or tie down his tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through his nose or pierce his jaws with a hook? Could the Leviathan gas field offshore Israel be the hooks in the jaw of Gog? Could the acquisition of this gas field be what inspires the thought to invade the land of Israel? Could the Leviathan gas field be the spoil Gog wants to take? Thus says the Lord God, it will come about on that day that thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil plan, and you will say, I will go up against the land of unwalled villages. I will go up against those who are at rest, that live securely, all of them living without walls and having no bars or gates, to capture spoil and to seize plunder, to turn your hand against the waste places which are now inhabited, and against the people who are gathered from the nations, who have acquired cattle and goods, who live at the center of the world. Ezekiel 38:10-12. Gog will come for spoil. Gog will come for spoil. The pipelines, gas. And from what's going on right now, it seems we're getting closer. Russia sends 2 nuclear-capable bombers to Venezuela. Trying to let us know they're not joking around. The clock is ticking. The alliance has been formed. Cush, Meshach, Tubal, Persia, Gog, they've all come together. But the Lord says He will rain hail and fire upon Gog. I will send fire on Magog and on those who live in safety in the coastlands, and they will know that I am the Lord. I will make known my holy name among my people Israel. I will no longer let my holy name be profaned, and the nations will know that I, the Lord, am the Holy One of Israel. It is coming. It will surely take place, declares the sovereign Lord. This is the day I have spoken of. God is saying he will deal with Magog just the same way he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Now this is going to happen at the same time as we see him coming in the clouds. As we see him coming in the clouds. It's happening at the same time as the unexpected eclipse of the sun and the moon. That's when we're gathered up. And they know. They know. They know what time it is. By all these signs, it doesn't look like we're going to be here any later than 2021. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the sky with power and great glory, and he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So, what else are they saying? They're getting the man ready for the mark of the beast. He's confused. It's virtual reality. He no longer has a grip on reality. Distract him. Legalize weed. Let him smoke himself to oblivion. Entertain him. Sports. Let him buy stuff. Make it convenient. Amazon. All you have to do is have a phone and you can get everything you want. Impair his judgment so he doesn't even know what balance is or not. He no longer has good judgment. Make him in the new image. Change his DNA. He will no longer be in the image of Jehovah. He will now be in the image of the beast. Man is being changed. Man is being prepared for the mark of the beast. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. CRISPR technology of the fallen ones. So you have the stalk, the whole tale, the folklore about the stalk, bringing babies, and then the sack of the baby has a barcode on it. So what this tells me is that this we're moving into an era of modifying babies, modifying people, changing their DNA, which is what happened during the days of Noah when the fallen angels mixed with women and mixed with animals. This is one of the reasons why God got upset. Just recently, the Chinese scientists said that he had actually changed altered the DNA of some people. This is what caused God to get really upset. You get a reference. This is in the book of Joshua, chapter 4 and verse 18. It tells you what was going on. It tells you what they were doing. So I think this is the armadillo, and I think what they're trying to tell us, that 2019 moving forward, to survive, one is going to need to have armor like the armadillo. Spiritual armor, physical armor. You're going to need to protect yourself physically as well as spiritually. That's what the armadillo symbolizes. Wearing its armor on its back, the armadillo is symbolic of protection and boundaries. Its shell acts as the armadillo's physical and spiritual boundary, guarding the safety of its total being. I think the message being passed here is that to survive 2019, we as individuals must protect ourselves both physically as well as spiritually. Perhaps this is an allusion to Ephesians 6 verse 10 to 18. And of course, we have the Mahatma. I think this is alluding to, they're trying to tell us that from 2019, we're going to need to live simpler lives, just like the Mahatma. The picture of the Mahatma, the great soul, indicates to me that moving forward after 2019, the world will have to learn to live a significantly simpler life than what currently obtains. Yeah, things are about to change drastically. I think that's what they're trying to tell us. Global warming, or the climate change, as they say, which is nonsense. The reason for all things happening, we know it's been written in the Bible many years ago, but people choose to believe that it's man-made and it's climate change. But it's not. It's not. These things were written in the Bible years and years and years ago. All these things were predicted to happen. It's not climate change. It is God's wrath coming. It's getting closer. So I think they're trying to tell us that because of their climate change lie, of course, more electric cars are going to be used. And moving forward, people are going to start to look to using electric cars. Facial recognition is going to become more of a thing, with security, of course, moving closer to the mark of the beast and surveillance and all of that. Something tells me that 2019 is going to be a year of very, very bad natural disasters, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, that sort. New horizons to ultimate Thule. This is deep space. Perhaps they're alluding to the fact that certain things will be discovered in space. Who knows? The elephant with the tusk, with like an economic arrow going upwards. Is that telling us that perhaps India is going to experience major economic boom this period? South Africa and Nigeria are going to have elections. The fact that only the two of them are mentioned or alluded to here suggests to me that the elections might be quite eventful. Let's hope that they're peaceful. The panda, which is China, is not looking too happy. The panda normally means peace. But the panda's not looking very happy. So I suspect that they might be alluding to the fact that instead of the panda standing for peace, it might actually stand for the opposite. Perhaps somebody's going to get China very, very upset. Perhaps China's going to be part of the war. All in all, I think they're trying to say that moving forward, things might get really bad after 2019. Yeah, I mean, I think they're even trying to sensitize people to start to see other people as meat, as you can see here. The new clothing line. Who knows? Perhaps it'll get so bad that people might actually start to eat other people. Yeah, sounds far-fetched. Yeah, but it looks like it's we're headed for troubling times. And everything is going to culminate with the sixth seal, which is what is alluded to here. As written in Revelation 6, verse 12 to 17. I watched as he opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red. And the stars in the sky fell to the earth as late fig trees dropped from the fig tree when shaken by a strong wind. The sky receded like a scroll rolling up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and every slave and every free man hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called on the rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand?" This is the same thing as spoken of in Matthew 24. We're in the zone. We are definitely in the zone. So, if we go by the warning that's been given to Egypt or Neo-Babylon, the warning of severance. This warning came in 2014. 2014 plus 7 years brings us to 2021. 2021 plus 7 years brings us to 2028. Could the final 7 years before the final arrival of Christ be 2021 to 2028? If that's the case, the rapture must occur on or before the year 2021. That's how close we are. That's how close we are. So that's my analysis. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my channel, and yeah, I really hope that this was a blessing. Jesus is coming back. Please believe in Yeshua HaMashiach. Get into a relationship with him. Accept him as your personal Lord and Savior. He will either be your savior or your judge. You get to pick, and you need to pick wisely. Pick now. Stop playing with it. Time is short. Even the heathen know. They know the time is short. So please. Okay, that's it from me. Yeah, Watchman blows the horn. Out.